I'm doing a video evaluating a YouTube channel and answering a few questions. Here we go. Is this person that I'm evaluating doing anything to mislead their viewers? Is the channel legitimate? Let's go into the history of the channel. Statements made of, by, and for the channel that are directly related and under control of whoever was running it at the time. 2012, January 30th, YouTube channel, long string of characters, joined. It's the one that's used. It's the actual real ID code for the channel. You can change its name, its vanity license plate, all sorts of things. Originally, up until October of 2020, literally I think right around Halloween, it was called 5MinuteGaming and or Deep Cove. I don't know at what times this changed, but it had videos going back to at least 2017 that were on gaming. This was not a channel that was exploring, as far as I can see, as a majority of its content, this is from archives, the deep mysteries of the paranormal. It was a gaming channel, pretty common thing. A little while later, like a little over a month later, their oldest video that they currently have was up, and it was as optimal frequency, nothing else to the name, and also showed a snazzy intro partway through the middle almost, that showed some screenshots of it being a gaming channel in the past, etc. Sometime after 2023, January 16th, it was then called Optimal Frequency Paranormal Research. But that video from 2020, and is the oldest video, is about the first experience, ostensibly, messing with a piece of software that you load on your phone to try to detect ghosts and find all sorts of, have fun like that at night. But the montage in the video indicates that this is not the first time this individual has messed with this stuff. Okay? Now anyway, after 2023, January, Optimal Frequency Paranormal Research existed. Now, associated with the channel and the rest of it is a specific person's name that's either referred to as being the person on the screen or another person that they're communicating with, sort of like a Hank Green versus etc., the Vlog Brothers, where they talk back and forth on a specific channel. This, at least once I've seen that. So I'm not assuming this person's named a certain thing, but we have GTR as the initials of the GoFundMe or Patreon or whatever that's associated with the channel. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the name of the person on the screen. But anyway, the person on screen claims, and what I can observe, uses a personal computer to generate white and pink noise and or just uses their cell phone. Or uses running water from a sink or faucet or any other sound that, and this is a claim, a spirit can use to communicate with. Then uses a free Spirit Box app and or an artificial intelligence software routine to filter out the noise that was injected into the situation, to leave only speech. I will evaluate these claims in a minute. Let's move on. Claim under at least one of the archives. All of this is to validate what I felt all my life. I speak to spirits, they answer back. Or words to that effect. Claim by the person asking me to evaluate the channel. In some of the videos, but there's nothing linked to, he adds tech-looking screenshots. They look like audio editing software. He may have said at one time or another that he designed whatever software he's using. Now, I will point out a good example of this is Audacity, where you can get an Audacity file set download that lets you just build a different version of it, a source code, that sort of thing. So unless we dig really deep into that, it's entirely plausible that someone could download a piece of software like Audacity or whatever, tinker with it, and make their own software for a very, very specific purpose. And it has the ability to have plugins to do literal AI audio analysis and filtering. But it can do that without you adding anything to it. But building a customized version that automatically has everything you use in it, which I've wanted to do for a while, and rip out all the crap I don't use because I don't want to add stupid effects to every damn thing, that's almost like a rite of passage for most people to mess with it. I'm just behind the curve, probably. But does adding the screenshots of what looks like audio editing software, is that the AI routine? Now, the thing is, not enough details were given, and I did my evaluation based on 3 or more videos. The first video uploaded, the latest video uploaded, and one somewhere in the middle I just picked kind of in the, back, some like 2022 or whatever, and seeing if there's a lot of changes in the behavior. That same snazzy intro, as I called it, exists throughout. Has the same style to it. And always seemed to involve making a spooky atmosphere by making it dark, dark out, and recording a video with green light or something. Can a skeptic evaluate this computer program or a program that's supposedly built by the uploader without using it, without having access to it? I'll be getting to that in a minute. Again, is he doing anything to mislead the viewers? 1 or 2 of the viewers noticed the major change and new look of the channel on the first video that we can find that was uploaded. But again, that video was almost 8 years, almost 9 years after the channel started, and all the way back to 2017, maybe even earlier. This was a gaming channel. So why is this missing? I don't know. Is the channel legitimate? But when you look up youtube.com/C, channel named 5MinuteGaming, or at optimal frequency, or the channel ID code, or just you could look up references to Deep Cove maybe. We don't get any useful information, but we do get a bunch of archives of what it looked like and what it had to show that this is what I've given you is actually true. So we're at the 7-minute and 10-second mark. That's what I know so far that we can nail down as fact. Let's talk about injecting noise into a situation, then recording it, and then supposedly using that to initiate or tease out noises in the environment. Pareidolia, I think is the way you pronounce the word. If you are listening to a noise source, your mind will look for meaning in it no matter how truly random it is. You can make truly random noise or find it in nature, and people will hear whispers on the wind, sound in the snow, and a twig snap suddenly becomes, it goes from being a chipmunk to a T-Rex. And the procedures that are being talked about and or demonstrated it's a very limited number of videos, do not give me hope that this is a useful or legitimate way to retrieve hidden information. Hard to find information or any environmental data of any kind, which is the whole point. You're analyzing the sound or the environment you're in, looking for something. But you're injecting extra data in and then removing it, because that's supposed to knock loose the information. Okay, the way we perceive the world has a giant, huge ass filter. You can overload the filter by adding extra data, noise. You can overload the brain, and the brain will then start processing, looking for voices, sounds of threat, just like visual data. If you introduce a lot of movement, you will be so busy doing this that even if you just kind of blank stare it, your mind will insert things where they need to be to make you safer. Human beings look for threats and look for information for communication. We're biased that way, just like every other animal on the planet that's ever been hunted. No, these aren't voices from beyond the grave or anything else. This is the skeptic response. A noise generator coming out of a cell phone with an extremely limited microphone and speaker that is not made to a standard that would be useful. I didn't say expensive, I said to a standard that would be useful. These are all DIY parts you can build that I'm going to bring up in a minute. But injecting noise and exploiting the fact that your mind will try to find meaning in garbage is just garbage. Next, I'm using an AI program or something to tease out the words or get rid of the noise. No, that's not how you do it. So Let's discuss how we do this. To test whether or not a piece of equipment is able to detect something unusual, we have to evaluate all the parts. So we'll just start with a microphone array. Not a microphone, not several of them in your cell phone, a special built microphone that costs 20 bucks or less. You can do coil mics, electric condenser mics, oatmeal mics that are from old telephones. The way they're wired up is pretty straightforward. You wire each microphone, a pair of them going each direction, this way, then this way, and then this way. That's all three directions, and you feed it into a not so complicated these days piece of hardware that's a set of op amps that can create all of those different sound sources and compare and contrast them by letting each of them nullify the others out in certain ratios. It's a complicated thing, but it's a particular type of microphone array you build from cheap mics to build this. And you put it on a stick and you put a wind canceling muff over it, or just on the stick it's held up by, or just use the wires and hang it from the ceiling, which is what I did when I did this. Same thing with the speaker array, you can do the same thing. And you use the speaker array to reproduce the sound at a higher volume. You record it with an extremely good sensitivity mic set. It just has to be able to pick up noise or sound at a lower level. If we're only dealing with voice frequency, they just need to be voice grade mics. That means they only need to work really well, which you can do, from 300 cycles per second to 3,000. That's the wide band for voice. Or they're musical instrument microphones, which means they have to go from 20 cycles per second for a tuba all the way up to a violin being destroyed by somebody who hates it, up in the 20 kHz range. I did a video a while ago about microphones that you could use as headphones. And if you want to hear the whole audio range, great. You get the ones that are the instrument mics. They're a little bit more expensive or not. Depends on where you buy them. But if you get the voice frequency mics, like for performers, they're great from 300 cycles per second to 3,000, so they can have a narrow range. That's all you need. It's like 300 to 3,000 is 10 to 1. 10 to 1 is a very small number of octaves, like really. But going from 20 cycles per second to 20,000, that's like 10 octaves. It's a little bit more of a challenge. So you end up with really shitty sensitivity, but you get the whole wide frequency, which you want for instruments. If you're doing voice, maybe you don't want it oversensitive like that, so you kind of muffle it. But you want it to cut out anything that isn't the human voice. So you would use those. And those can be any kind of mic. You can go look them up. As the last time I built a microphone array like this, which was early 2018, wow, that's a long time ago, it was $12 to build 2 sets that could do wideband, and another set as well for just voice frequency. Well, what about the radio frequency stuff, EVP, blah, blah, blah? You use antennas and audio frequency electromagnetic receiving coils that are just literally coils of wire that are oriented in each directions using the same amps. Do you see that in any video saying that they've discovered ghost voices? The answer is no. There's very few of them that ever try to do that. I've literally seen only one person do it, and it wasn't on Discovery Channel. It was just actually a YouTuber trying to test this and found the same thing I did. There isn't any voices out there. It doesn't matter how haunted the place is. The next thing is use an anionic chamber, basically a big crate loaded with foam, to make it to where you can't hear anything outside of it. Stand in there, set up the equipment, and leave, and see if it picks up your supposed ghost that can walk through a wall in there. No excuses. Does it work? It never does. I built this kind of equipment for people to do stage recordings and also recordings in an anionic chamber to record an opera singer. I might have some knowledge in this. So, to review, the channel is not, misleading the viewers, and it's a legitimate channel, and it has a past as at least one or maybe 2 different channel names. I don't know how many other things, and lots of videos have been removed. And all of this seems very recent, even though it says this has been a lifelong thing, or is alluding to it. Would I use this as a source for information to prove spirits can speak to humans through these programs? No. And the first video looked a whole hell of a lot like it was a paid ad, but it doesn't show any ad pay thing, so I don't know. It's a free app, so how can it be a paid ad? And it was done mostly for some other channel to evaluate. So I don't know. You decide. My conclusion, I wouldn't use this for a data source. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. You'll need it.